Next on KPBS Evening Edition, here comes the rain just in time for the hectic holiday travel. We're live with a look at the conditions you'll face this long holiday weekend. Plus, fire and ice. If you're heading north this Thanksgiving, it won't be easy. Details on the snow and latest fire complicating travel plans. And it's being called the Silver Tsunami, how the passing of time and baby boomers could flood the housing market. KPBS Evening Edition starts now. Good evening. It's Tuesday, November 26th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. You hear it every holiday. Millions of people on the getaway, record crowds, and this Thanksgiving is no different. But this time, bad weather locally and across the nation could complicate things. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman is live now with more. Matt?
Yeah, Maya, AAA is estimating that 55 million people will travel across the nation during this Thanksgiving holiday. Now, most of those people, not by air, they're going to be traveling by cars. You can expect the worst of that traffic tomorrow, but that's when it's supposed to rain, which could make for tough travel conditions. Get ready for lots of this.
It is a busy time for us, obviously. We're in the middle of what we call our maximum enforcement period.
The California Highway Patrol will have all available officers on the roads from Wednesday until Sunday.
Our main goal is to make sure that while people are doing that, trying to get to their families and enjoy their holiday time, that they're doing it safely. And obviously there's going to be rain that's going to be coming on Wednesday. So with that inclement weather, we're going to get those crashes, we're going to get those incidents. So you're going to see a lot of traffic on those days, especially probably around after 2 p.m.
A winter storm bringing rain and snow is expected Wednesday through Friday. While traffic and rain are a recipe for accidents, smart driving can make all the difference.
Sometimes 65 miles per hour is just not a safe speed because of the roadway conditions. Just driving at an unsafe speed or conditions, look, 90% of the crashes that happen in San Diego County really are these rear end collisions because people are driving too close to that car in front of you.
We're expecting on average about 73,000 people a day for this holiday week.
The airport is expecting to have the usual Thanksgiving crowds.
All hands on deck. Everybody that's available to work is working.
To make your flight, the airport is suggesting travelers arrive 2 hours early for domestic flights and 3 hours ahead for international ones. And everyone should continue to check their departure times as rain could spell flight delays.
Well, that's another great reason to be calling your airline ahead of time. Check your flights as before you come. And not only for the weather here, but for the weather where your destination is. And right now what you're seeing is some traffic. We are right above the 15 near Adams Avenue. Some tips from the CHP. They say don't drive in the far right lane. That's where this water will pool up when it's raining. Try to stay in the middle or go toward those left lanes. Also make sure to keep a safe following distance between you and the car ahead of you. In terms of flights at the airport, no word yet on any delays, but those could come up very easily. So once again, make sure to check those flights. Make sure your flight is not delayed. Here in Kensington, Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
Some good advice there, Matt. Thanks so much. And it might be dry out there now, but that is about to change drastically. Beginning tonight, and shelters will be open for those without housing. Meteorologist Justin Povic shows us what we can expect.
A very busy, stormy pattern setting up once again as we go throughout the next 24 to 48 hours. Majority of the impacts through early tonight off to the north, but this will be changing as we go through time. Again, as we head in toward late tonight, especially into Wednesday and Wednesday night, we will start to see, again, the rain work its way back into the picture. Already, we do see flash flood watches in effect late tonight to Thursday evening with the potential of 1 to 2 inches of rain. Higher amounts as we go further off toward the east, especially as we talk about areas toward Mount Laguna over the higher terrain. There comes the rain working its way in here, heading in toward Wednesday. In addition, we're going to be talking about snow making its move in over the higher terrain. Winter storm warnings going up Wednesday morning into Friday evening. Maya, back to you.
And straight ahead, more on our holiday weekend forecast, plus a look at the miserable weather conditions across parts of the country and what they could mean for you or your loved ones traveling for Thanksgiving. And just in time for the holiday travel and shopping season comes some good news for local commuters. A celebration took place today to announce the end of construction at the 163 at Friars and Frazee Roads. KPBS reporter Priya Sridhar reports from Mission Valley.
For the past 3 months, traffic around Friars Road and the 163 in Mission Valley has been a little more chaotic than usual. In an effort to ease the area's chronic congestion, Caltrans shut down the northbound 163 off-ramp to Friars Road in August to complete a major construction project. Today, they unveiled their work. An additional lane in each direction on Friars Road and an additional southbound lane on Frazee Road.
As our region continues to grow, so do the demands on our infrastructure. And we have to design, build, and operate an integrated system that provides safe pathways for all modes of transportation, including walking, biking, carpooling, and public transportation.
The city funded the $40 million project with the help of Transnet, a voter-approved half-cent sales tax that funds regional transportation projects.
Mission Valley has a lot of development coming in the future. It's designed around mass transit. It's that density housing that we're looking for to try and solve some of our housing problems and our housing crisis here in San Diego. But one of the most important parts, if we're going to do that development, it has to be done right. And we have to have the traffic mitigation and the traffic to flow to make sure that people can go to and from their homes and to and from the businesses down here in Mission Valley. This is the beginning of that process.
The new lanes are opening just in time for Black Friday, and business owners say they hope it makes the shopping experience more manageable.
Friars Road has always been very busy, starting Black Friday through the Christmas holiday up to New Year's. So this is just going to greatly improve the flow of traffic and encourage people to come down here and not be concerned that it's going to be the gridlock that it was years ago.
Caltrans officials say there is still minor work left to do that they expect to be complete by early next year. Priya Sridhar, KPBS News.
5 photojournalists who covered the migrant crisis along California's southern border are now suing the federal government for interrogating them about their work. These journalists believe freedom of the press doesn't stop at the border. KPBS's Max Rivlin-Nadler explains.
One by one, photojournalists covering last year's migrant caravans in Tijuana found themselves being interrogated by border officials as they crossed back into the U.S. They were asked about what they were doing, who they saw, and whether they could identify anyone who organized the caravans. One was told that they were the Department of Homeland Security's eyes on the ground. A database leaked to NBC7 San Diego soon confirmed that they were being specifically targeted by DHS. Now, they're suing. Mitra Abdullahi is an attorney with the American Civil Liberties Union of San Diego and Imperial Counties.
All of these types of questions lead to a significant chilling effect for journalists seeking to investigate and report about major significant developments. And it's a violation of the First Amendment.
Abdullahi hopes that the lawsuit will reveal the extent of the surveillance and what records have been kept on the journalists. Some of the journalists also had restrictions placed on their travel. One was barred from entering Mexico after an alert was placed on her passport.
One of the key forms of relief that we are seeking in this case is that expungement to try to reset the game and make sure that there isn't a maintained sort of collection of improperly obtained information about professional journalists who are seeking to report about the border.
The government has 60 days to respond to the lawsuit. Max Rivlin-Nadler, KPBS News.
A new report shows that as baby boomers age, close to 20 million homes across the country are expected to change owners in the next 2 decades. KPBS reporter Joe Hung explains what that means for those who may want to buy homes in our region.
More than a quarter of homes in San Diego will change ownership by 2037. In San Diego's coastal neighborhoods, that'll be the case for more than 35% of homes. But that doesn't mean San Diego's market will be flooded with affordable housing. Skylar Olson is the director of economic research at Zillow. She says that California's property tax system, which rewards owners and their heirs for staying put, will limit the availability of these homes.
That makes housing in California exclusive. You combine that with it's on the coast in a gorgeous place like San Diego, and that takes that exclusivity up a notch.
The exodus of baby boomers won't be enough to end the woes of millennial San Diegans. Norman Miller is a professor of real estate at the University of San Diego. He says that without an increase in housing supply, younger generations won't reap the benefits of baby boomers exiting the housing market.
Unless we increase the housing supply significantly, it's going to be an increasingly expensive place to live. And I think that a lot of millennials will do well and others will leave the state.
Miller says that one solution is to build middle-income housing near transportation hubs. Joe Hong, KPBS News.
The boat that caught fire, killing 34 people off the coast of Southern California, was one of hundreds of vessels that were exempt from stricter safety rules by the U.S. Coast Guard. The Los Angeles Times reports the Conception was built before 1996, which meant it didn't have to meet certain safety standards that are imposed on new vessels. The Conception had a 24-inch escape hatch and no illuminated signs. New rules require escape hatches to be at least 32 inches. Whether those safety measures would have made a difference is unclear. A state of emergency in Santa Barbara County, where a massive 4,000-acre wildfire is burning. The cave fire has led to frightening inferno conditions along area roads and causing closures along highways 154 and 246. Evacuation orders are in place as flames move toward populated areas in Santa Barbara and Goleta. Crews from San Diego and other neighboring counties are on the front lines helping battle the flames, which are being whipped up by 50-mile-per-hour winds. And it's not just sudden wildfires prompting concern. Millions of Americans are being threatened by snow and ferocious winds. Camilla Bernal shows us the dangerous weather from coast to coast.
For millions of Americans planning to travel this Thanksgiving, this is not the forecast they want to see.
Eastern half of the country, all wet. Western half, all white. And we're going to have slow travel tomorrow.
More than 20 million people are under winter weather advisories, watches, or warnings. Hundreds of flights are canceled at Denver International Airport.
It sounded like it was going to be a pretty major storm, so that's why we thought we'd better get here early.
Up to 15 inches of snow could fall there by the end of the day. Drivers in the region feeling the impact. Parts of a major interstate from Colorado to the Nebraska border closed down. And in the Northeast, ferocious winds and rain are expected. Some airlines are waiving change fees ahead of the anticipated delays. Meanwhile, the West Coast is bracing for severe storms that could spark flash floods.
Check their tires, have windshield washer fluid, plenty of gas, dress warm, and just plan for delays.
I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
And of course, fortunately, our weather won't be as bad as other parts of the country, but the rest of the week will be very windy and rainy. Meteorologist Justin Povic has our full forecast.
We are well into the wet season and well on our way to average. Already 3/4 of an inch of rain thus far this month, and much more to come over the next 36 to 48 hours. Quiet right now on the satellite and the radar, but as we go through time, you'll see that increase in clouds tonight. And then our storm system that's going to be dropping down from the north and the west will send a surge of moisture in. We'll start to see the rain increasing from the morning hours north and west through the midday hours oceanside into the afternoon from La Jolla back into San Diego. Flash flood watches are up. That potential for over an inch to inch and a half of rain. Again, that's going to be the case here around La Jolla and San Diego. Out east to higher foothills, potentially over 2 inches of rain. And then higher up, we're going to be talking about the snow levels dropping Wednesday 5,500 feet. San Diego mountains, those dropping all the way down to below 4,000 feet as we talk about late week. Big dip in the jet stream, potent low pressure system pressing all the moisture in our direction. And again, there are those winter storm warnings that are up. Some difficult traveling conditions here, again, throughout the San Diego County mountains. And again, we'll be talking about those dropping snow levels as we go through time. Wednesday night to Thursday, 5,500 feet down to 3,500 feet here through time. All right, in the metro, temperature-wise, 52 degrees, increasing cloudiness for the overnight. Then we'll be talking about precipitation making its move in for Wednesday. Already a very busy travel day, right? Well, added weather, and it's going to be talking about the rain coming in, along with some wind toward the ridge tops will likely cause additional travel headaches. And notice Thanksgiving Day, wet weather working its way back in the picture throughout the afternoon. By the evening and overnight, this is exiting. We'll be talking about more rain and mountain snow. Notice for the coast, by the time we venture into the weekend, we're in good shape. Inland as well, but the next 24 to 48 hours quite active. The snow throughout the mountainous terrain, as I mentioned, and quieting for the deserts by the weekend. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Justin Povic. Maya, back over to you.
Hospitals and their technology are increasingly vulnerable to hackers. But now, federal regulators are using the hacks as a learning experience. KPBS science and technology reporter Shalina Chatlani shows us how.
A heart attack patient has just rolled into a UC San Diego emergency room, but operations have gone awry.
It looks like VFib. Hello, sir? You there? Okay, let's jump on the chest.
Some help in here, please.
His heart has stopped,
get down there.
and Dr. Raul Nene is instructing his colleagues to administer a shock.
Charge is ready.
Okay, clear? Clear? Go ahead, shock him.
Okay. And shock.
Perfect, okay.
This patient is fine because, well, he's a talking dummy. Nene is a real doctor, but right now he's just acting because this isn't an emergency room. It's a simulation at UC San Diego's Simulation Training Center. These doctors and actors are simulating a ransomware attack. A hacker has infected the computer system with the virus and is demanding payment to remove it. A patient's health hangs in the balance, and people downstairs are watching in an auditorium.
We imagined what would happen if you were in a hospital and you needed to take care of someone who had a heart attack or someone who had a stroke, but you couldn't access the very technologies that you rely on a regular basis.
This scene is part of the CyberMed conference. Jeff Tully, who's both a doctor and a hacker, is one of the organizers. He says he hopes to make the real impacts of a potential cyber event more understandable for medical and government leaders.
This is something that we found is very much visceral and very tangible, and lets people who were previously sort of removed from the bedside understand that this could have those types of implications in the real world.
And Tully isn't the only hacker who's trying to show just how easy it can be to get into a medical system. Marie Mo is a Norwegian cybersecurity researcher, and 8 years ago, she woke up on the floor because she had suddenly passed out.
It turned out that it was my heart that had taken a break.
Mo's heart wasn't getting enough oxygen, so she needed a pacemaker to keep her heart beating at the right rate. Very quickly, though, her cybersecurity senses kicked in.
Can my heart be connected to the internet? And I wanted to know, how is this implemented? Is it secure?
And it turns out her pacemaker was connected to the internet. So Mo asked her graduate students to investigate. She was surprised how easy it was to buy a number of used pacemakers online and take them apart. Mo also bought a pacemaker programmer for just $500 off of eBay.
Yeah, the same programmer that is used in hospitals to change the settings of my pacemaker.
Now, the problem isn't just that individual medical devices can be hacked, it's that entire hospital systems are vulnerable. In fact, in 2017, at least 16 hospitals in the United Kingdom and left many of those computers frozen because of a major ransomware attack. That's why these cybersecurity experts are trying to raise awareness. But Mo says cybersecurity in hospitals and for the technologies inside them can still seem theoretical. Industry data shows hospitals spend just around 5% of their IT budgets on cybersecurity. So Mo has been sharing her research in hopes to highlight the problem. This willingness among cyber experts like Mo and Tully to raise awareness on hospital vulnerabilities is something the Federal Drug Administration has noticed. Suzanne Schwartz is with the FDA's Office of Strategic Partnerships.
FDA very much believes in the idea of bringing the community together. Collaboration has been really a cornerstone of our efforts.
The FDA is responsible for clearing and approving consumer medical devices. Over the last 5 years, it's partnered up with hackers and cybersecurity researchers. The FDA organized a so-called We Heart Hackers Challenge this year, where, Schwartz said, manufacturers volunteered over 40 devices to be hacked.
It created a sense of safe space for the manufacturers who otherwise may be reluctant to participate in something like this, and the researchers with a government presence as well.
At the 2019 DEF CON hacking conference in August, hackers attacked real medical devices at a pretend hospital. Schwartz said manufacturers essentially got a free consultation on their device vulnerabilities.
Plenty of hospital representatives, patients as well, who really got a lot out of seeing the interactions that were happening within this device hacking lab.
The FDA also shares lessons learned with the Department of Homeland Security. Schwartz says ensuring patient safety requires collaboration, not just among regulators, but also with experts who can show where those vulnerabilities may lie. Shalina Chatlani, KPBS News.
It's pretty easy for adults to get a flu shot. They can get it at a pharmacy without a time-consuming doctor's visit. But that's not often the case with kids, and public health experts say it's costing lives. Elizabeth Cohen reports.
Just before Christmas 2012, 5-year-old Caroline Miller got so sick from the flu that her lungs stopped functioning. She had to be airlifted to the hospital and put into a medically induced coma.
She was clinging to life because of the flu.
Caroline hadn't had a flu shot that year.
It just got busy for all 4 of us to get vaccinated. Is 4 different phone calls to get 4 different appointments. It's a time-consuming endeavor.
Jennifer Miller says if her state, New Jersey, had allowed her to bring Caroline to a pharmacy to get a flu shot, perhaps she wouldn't have had to suffer.
You're passing by those pharmacies on a regular basis. You're already there.
Most states are like New Jersey. They have restrictions on children getting flu shots at pharmacies. Georgia is one of the states with restrictions. That's where Kristen Neighbors lives. She says to go to the pediatrician for a flu shot means she or her husband has to take a half day off work. And she says that doesn't make any sense.
These pharmacies are not only faster because you can be in and out in just a few minutes, they also offer the shots on the evenings and on the weekends. This is an easy shot to give and should be easy for us to get in a way that's convenient.
Dr. Erwin Redlener is a pediatrician and director of the National Center for Disaster Preparedness at Columbia University, and he was a special consultant to the Clinton administration.
There's a public health crisis that we actually have 40 or 50% of children not getting a flu shot. That is putting children at terrible risk.
Do we need to change these laws?
I think it makes sense. Pharmacists are totally capable of doing it, and that's what we should have as the law of the land.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, says change hasn't happened in part because health authorities haven't fought for it.
I think when you keep bringing attention to it, somebody's going to wake up and say, okay, here's what we need to do.
So this child is Ryan.
In the states where children can get flu shots in pharmacies, it makes a difference. 2 years ago, during a terrible flu season, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo declared a disaster emergency and allowed all children over the age of 2 to get flu shots at pharmacies. The result? The next year, more than 30,000 children and their parents got flu shots at pharmacies in New York, according to the State Department of Health. Last month in New York, Rebecca Mondello got her daughter Sophie a flu shot right away at this Walgreens pharmacy.
We came here because we know that it's convenient.
And now, Sophie's protected.
Thank you.
And the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says this year's flu includes a strain that is particularly tough on children, and doctors say that makes it important to get your kids vaccinated. San Diego Zoo welcomes another baby rhino. The animal was born last week and is the second born at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park as a result of artificial insemination. Both the mom and the calf are doing well. The mother, Amani, is one of 6 southern white female rhinos brought to the zoo to help with an ambitious recovery effort for the northern white rhino. There are only 2 living northern white rhinos left on the planet. The calf is the 100th southern white rhino born at the safari park.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, a bleak forecast, the UN's stark warning on how to mitigate the climate crisis. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Friends, family, and food. All the food. Yes, the holidays have begun. In today's Health Minute, Britt Conway has some helpful tips on how to navigate the endless treats this season.
The holidays are notorious for breaking even the most strict dieter and health food nut. But with a few simple tips from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, you can conquer and enjoy the festivities. Number 1, holiday-proof your plan. When you can't control the food being served at an event, have a plan. Stick to your usual mealtime and offer to bring a healthy dish. And don't skip meals before a big feast. You could end up overeating. Number 2, outsmart the buffet. Only use small plates and start by loading up with veggies. Also make sure you move away from the food display so you're not tempted to graze. Tip number 3, fit in the favorites. Think about the dishes that only come around once a year or have a special meaning to you. Number 4, keep moving. Don't ditch your fitness routine. Keeping active will not only help your waistline, but your mental health. And your last tip, number 5, get your sleep. There's a lot going on this time of year, so make sure you get your rest. This will give your metabolism and blood sugar time to reset. For today's Health Minute, I'm Britt Conway.
Bread or butter? That was the tough choice for President Trump at the annual turkey pardoning ceremony on Tuesday. Dozens of people showed up at the White House's Rose Garden to watch the event. The tradition goes back to 1947 when President Harry Truman pardoned the first holiday bird. So who did President Trump choose in the end? Well, he chose butter. President Trump said the turkey appeared strong, and that's what helped him make his choice. But don't worry, it's okay. Bread also got pardoned. He's going to be at the Gobbler's Rest Farm in Virginia. Great. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us tonight from all of us here at KPBS. Thanks for watching.